Hey guys, so I think most likely you're gonna have to watch it on a bigger screen. I have already done this part once, but I'm just going to try to do the exact same way I did it before. So basically the assignment is somebody wants a WordPress stack, a WordPress site using the LAMP stack, and that's all the requirements are. There are a lot of these links available. DigitalOcean I have used in the past, but you could pick up any provider and get it installed. The reason I'm going even so, the machine image that we have picked up is Debian, and the article that I'm looking at is Ubuntu, because Ubuntu is based on Debian, so this should work. All right, prerequisites. So initial server setup guide, that's going to be a big undertaking. So unless I face issues later on, I'm not going to get into it at this point. So UFW app list. This is for opening firewalls. And I'll most likely just fast forward through it at a little faster pace. So I'm gonna stop talking now. Well, in this case, it's showing us how to find the IP address of our system, which I'm just gonna save because the SED that you're seeing, it's a very powerful tool, but I have been working with Unix for I don't know how many 20 years, but I still can't get a handle on that. But the easy way to get an IP address is this. It's a website somebody built that just gives you your IP address, just like the whatismyip.com website. So apd SQL Server. MySQL. This would come in handy. I'm gonna make a so this is a separate thing. By that I mean like I just related to SQL Server. I'm gonna keep it separate. And it is setting a password for the root user. Flush privileges. By the way, I actually didn't know about flush privileges. I have worked on it at some point in time, but I have a pea-sized brain and it has a very limited capacity to store things, so I store very limited things. All right, now we're at PHP. Okay, let's look at what these are. PHP is the component setup that will connect your MySQL databases to get information, hand the content over to web server display. Okay, so we're gonna need both of these. Now the Nano editor is popular these days, but I prefer VI. Okay, it looks like this, and basically index.php is at the 4th position, and this is just interpreting by common sense, I don't know anything about Apache, but I know index.php and index.html. Index.html basically would be a HTML file. That would be the first file that's read on a website. But this also comes into picture when setting websites on the storage bucket like S3 or Google storage. And index.php should be the PST specific index.html equivalent. So this guy wants the index.php read first and not the index.html. Fair enough. Doing that, you have the option to install some additional modules. Okay, I'm not going to install additional modules. And it's just talking about the same thing. Okay, we're not going to do any scripting. The end user might, but I am not concerned about it. Well, let's say the end user has asked for it. Okay, setting a virtual host. I don't want to deal with it. The user did not ask for it, believe it or not. Okay, I'm not really sure what it does, and I don't have time to investigate too much, so I'm just going to copy these, but I am going to copy them as comments. So the thing is, if this is something that we are going to need, it will pop up like in your path somewhere, and like there will be some reference somewhere about A2N site, A2 disk site. So I don't want to come back on this page, and I don't want to keep this as a reference, even though I'm going to store it. I don't really want to have to come back to this page. So whatever I need, I'm just going to. All right, so that's it for. Now let's go to WordPress. Oh, by the way, this is just as much sense as it has made to you as it has to me. I have no idea or very little idea what these commands are going to do. We'll just, like in this situation, because we are on such a tight deadline, we just have to kind of figure it out as we go, and that's kind of the main point I want to make with this whole course. Okay, that has to be log in as root user. Now something from experience I know, Linux system has a root user, so this has to be something similar. Oracle has sys. Postgres has Postgres, so doesn't exactly go well. It shows here log into MySQL root. That's the administrative command. All right, so looking at this, it says that's the administrative user. I'm not sure why that P is there, but I am not worried about it right now. If it doesn't work, we'll figure it out. All right. Okay. Now looking at this, create database WordPress, grant all on WordPress to WordPress user at localhost. So I am not creating the WordPress user, so I guess this statement by default creates it, because it also has the identified by. Oh, and then flush privileges, I learned before that it basically pushes in the grants that we implemented. All right, once again, a lot of installs. Well, the flush privileges, it means whenever you assign new privileges, they don't take effect unless you relog in on most systems. So this is MySQL's way of working around that. So instead of log out, log in, you say flush privileges. And we're gonna have to keep restarting the Apache. All right, apache2.conf. I just want the file name. And this is what needs to go into it. So apache2.conf, and this is what needs to go into it. We can enable mod rewrite so that we can utilize the, I don't know what that is, but sounds like something the client might need. A WordPress permalink feature. And to enable the changes, we need to do that. And you could make little notes here. Enable the changes. Actually, you should. WordPress permalink feature. Okay, now it's saying get the software. Now this I have done a ton of times while setting up systems. Basically, you don't go through browser to download stuff when working with systems. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So there are usually links like this that you need to find out to download software. Okay, we'll be moving this file. So we can add a dummy and so that this will. Okay, this does not make any sense, so I'm just gonna copy paste this. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. From temp directory, you're basically copying the sample into the actual location. Do this on its own following an update. Okay, sounds reasonable. To avoid permission issues, if WordPress tries to upgrade itself, and then we copy this stuff. Okay, now these guys are saying Sammy, so they have a user called Sammy in the group www data. So need a user, and I'm going to call it GCP GCP WP. All right, and the group, well, let's use the Linux www minus data. Okay, that's that GID bit. This is something Linux specific, so I'm not going to go into it, but you should be aware of that. And this is just setting permissions. Alright, so now it's saying to grab secure values. Okay, anything secure, I don't want to deal with it. I mean, you're going to have to at some point in time, but like right now the client said nothing secure. We don't want anything secure. I'm just kidding. But like this part adds more things, and I don't want to, like my project here, I have, like the way I'm looking at is just setting up the WordPress on LAMP stack and be done with it. And then the last one is complete the installation through the web interface. So now this part I'm going to hand over. This is like the typical WordPress install. Well, typical WordPress first screen after installation, and I'm going to hand it over to the client. All right, it's 16 minutes, so I'm going to stop it here.